All right, traders, please disregard the red stains on the walls. I can assure you the only thing it is that I am slaughtering is the SPY in Tesla. With that being said, I ended up making my trade on Tesla and I bought put options towards market open and I made a 20% profit return on those puts, or a $6,300 profit with a very safe at the money strike with further expiration. Investors dream of making an 8% return annually. Obviously, I'm not full porting these, but for a 20% return on a safe contract with a safe scalp for a 20% win, I'll take that all day, man. With that being said, not only did I do that, but this is now the second day in a row, back to back, a day before planned in advance, where I gave the exact top of SPY before it reversed and crashed. As you can see right here, I said the best level for puts is at 412.64. And as you can see, as soon as the SPY hit 412.64, what did it do? It topped out exactly at my level and had a massive pullback all the way down to 410.80. Now, in terms of what I said yesterday about the SPY, Will, what did you say yesterday about the SPY? Yesterday I said $415 is the best level for puts to short the SPY. Will, what was the high of day for SPY yesterday? The high of day was at 415. Don't you understand that I'm waking the world up? I am showing you how to trade the best setups at the best prices. I am teaching you how to identify bag holders, how to identify potentials, how to identify the reversal and the resistance and the massive crash before it actually happens. And I'm going to show you how to do that towards the end of this video. First things first, I'm going to get into my trading plan, but I want to give a big shout out to Top G. He had some great trades today, and also Dimitri. Dimitri, while people were sleeping in the pre-market, ended up short selling over $100,000 worth of Tesla shares, 500 shares to be exact, in the pre-market at $214, laughing at all the bulls laughing at him. He profited on those shares, selling for a nice gain. Then, when the market opened, he switched to puts with me and made a 20% profit return. The guy is making 5 figures every single day. It wasn't too long ago where I took him in under my wing and he was trading penny stocks, making $500 here, $2,000 here, $3,000 here. He was doing well, but he wasn't super wealthy. Once he started mastering the SPY with my team and he was self-sufficient as well, all the credit and all the power to him, he's now making 5 figures every single day trading options. So with that being said, I'm going to show you how to master the SPY. Let's get into the trading plan. Towards the end of this video, I'm going to recap my trades. Now, what I want you to understand is we are towards the upper end of the channel. We are towards upper resistance channel. So we're towards the top of towards the middle top of the channel in terms of the exact top. The exact top would be considered 416.70 to 418. We're towards the upper middle of the channel. Now, as of lately, $414 has been reacting as significant resistance. We saw many crashes and many pullbacks at $414. In terms of the SPY is having a small gap up right now. So it's trying to open up higher than it previously closes, which is technically bullish. But that can change heading into pre-markets. We don't know if it's going to gap down or gap not. Here's what I'm going to tell you. There's going to be a new gap to fill at 413.98. That is going to be the new level that I'm going to be targeting on the SPY. Now, what I want you to understand is it is towards upper higher resistance. So it's not the most attractive level to buy calls and to buy SPY, but if 414 reacts as a support level, the bulls will win and they will send this back to 415 to 416 to 417 zone, right? So you must respect the levels. Understand where we are. We're towards the upper middle end of the channel. The bulls are trying to break out. If 414 reacts as a support level and it forms a floor and SPY is staying green on the day, then it's super bullish, no reason for puts, and it's going to run to about 416 to 417. Now, if the SPY goes green to red and reacts bearish and there's no floor and it's forming a ceiling, it's forming a roof, it's forming lower highs at $414, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to scalp puts if it goes green to red and forms the ceiling, forms resistance, forms bearish confirmation, right? And then I'm going to look to sell those puts for a profit towards 412.60. That's my profit zone. So the game plan is very, very simple. All we are doing is targeting one gap at $414 heading into tomorrow. If it reacts as support, it's bullish. If it reacts as a resistance, it's bearish. What we do know in terms of in advance, right now, it's trying to gap up. It's trying to go bullish. We also know we're towards the upper middle, so not the exact peak, but towards the upper middle of a resistance channel. So you have to be aware of that. Previous resistance can turn into support, and it can break out and go to 416, 417. So no matter what I do, I get stopped out very, very quickly. If I buy calls at 414 and it goes to like 413.50 or 413.20, I get stopped out and cut my loss. If I buy puts at 414 and it shoots up to 414.50, 414.70, I get stopped out, right? But the point is, and what I'm telling you is, if it reacts as a floor, it's bullish. If it reacts as a roof, it's bearish. It is our job as traders to determine whether it's going to be a floor or roof not. Sometimes in advance, we're able to tell. In terms of this time, it's less of able to tell. It's a small minor gap up. We are approaching resistance, but we just got to see how it reacts. It would be different if it had a massive gap up or a massive gap down. If it had a massive gap up, then I would be more attracted to buy calls at 414 because I had a massive gap up and bag holders got created. If it had a massive gap down, I would be attracted to buy puts at 414 because it had a massive gap down, right? But if it's just going to have a small little move, that's where you got to be super careful as well. And that's where it's less knowing in advance and more just kind of seeing how this actually reacts, right? But if it does gap up, obviously that's more of a bullish signal. But if it reacts bearish at the gap, then it's bearish. So that's my analysis for the SPY, and that's the game plan overall. We're just going to determine that heading into tomorrow. Very, very simple plan. It's a decent setup, not 100% the best. This is what the best setup looks like. I'll show you right here. This is a phenomenal setup that we've been banking all past 2 weeks on. So SPY gaps down. It has a massive sell-off. It pushes back up to close the gap. It hits the white line. This is the previous closing price for the gap fills. It sells off and has a reversal. As you can see right here, SPY gaps down. It pushes down a lot lower. It fills the gap right here. It sells off and has a reversal. That's how I was able to know the exact top, because I identified there's major resistance with big downside potential. It already crashed in the pre-market. It made common sense. And there was a gap to fill at 415.19. So gap close reversal, that has not been filled yet, right? And even right here, there was a gap to fill at 412.64. And the SPY had a reversal at this gap, right? Those are the good ones. When it has a massive gap up, when it has a massive gap down for puts, once the gap fills, and a massive gap up for calls once the gap fills. Once it retraces back to the swing trader zone where people who were right about the swing trade banked, and for the people who were wrong about the swing trade were bag holders, so a lot of selling pressure is going to get created at that initial bag holder entry for them, right? Now, with that being said, I'm going to show you how to trade the best setups as prices. So my plan for SPY is very simple. I already explained it. And as heading into market open, I'll have a very good determination whether it's going to be bullish or bearish with my team, as I always prepare them. But this is what I want you to understand. Let's talk about gaps. So what we're doing is we're targeting gaps. We want massive gap ups and we want massive gap downs. Will, what's a gap? Well, when stocks trade during extended hours trading, they can open up higher or lower than they previously closed. As you can see right here, the SPY previously closed at 412.64. It opened up much lower than it previously closed. So what does this tell us? This tells us that the SPY had a massive gap down, and there's now a gap to fill at 412.64. So here's how my brain thinks about this. I say, okay, what happened at 412.64? Well, the people who swing traded puts, they made a lot of money if they were smart and sold at the open because it already crashed. Take your profits. Don't hold in hope. The stock already gapped down. The put's already banked. The stock already crashed. Take your profits, right? Because what could happen is it can reverse and start to fill the gap above, right? So in terms of the bag holders that got created, this is where the bag holders that get created when a stock gaps down. When a stock gaps down, the bag holders get created for the people who chase the short position because the swing traders already banked and they're going to lock in their gains and squeeze the stock back up to fill the gap, right? And people are going to buy because it's low, right? Now, in terms of the bag holders who got created at 412.64, those were the hopers. Those were the people who were wrong about the swing trade. They said SPY looks bullish at 412.64. I'm going to buy calls. I'm going to buy the stock. Well, SPY had a massive gap down. Now you're bag holding, right? You're gambling. Now, with that being said, this is how you capitalize off of that information. You wait for the bag holders to get created. So the bag holders are going to get created on the people who short the SPY after it gaps down, after the swing traders made money. They're going to get squeezed. And then the new bag holders are going to get created in terms of the, bull trap once the gap fills. Once the gap fills, the smart people are going to say, okay, this was the worst entry to buy SPY yesterday. It had a massive reversal, it gapped down, it got crushed. This is where the bag holders got created. Think about it. If you bought SPY here and it had a massive gap down and you held your position, you held your bag, you didn't cut your loss, wouldn't you sell it for break even? That's what I would do. If I was bag holding a position and I chose to just blindly hold it, which is something I will never do, what I would do is if it went back to my initial entry very, very quickly, I would say, wow, I just bag holded an option, I got wrecked, and it's at break even now. Lucky me, what a gift. I'm going to sell because I got the worst entry possible. I now would know the best entry would be right here where I was holding the bag, and the worst entry would be right here where I entered the calls and bought the stock. That's where you sell and you short the stock. See, that's what I do, man. And I do it before it's resistance. I do it the first time. Notice how SPY has a perfect reversal when the gap closes, and it crashes very, very nicely the first time the gap fills. But when it already crashes in retest back to the gap in previous closing price, what does it do? It has a breakout. It starts forming support. It's starting to be choppy. It goes up a little and then it drops back down under the previous closing price. It's a hot mess. Why is that? The reason why that is people already know it's already too late. The gap has already closed. There is no more gap strategy. If the gap already closed and the gap already fills, there is no more gap to fill, meaning it's just a resistance level. And there is nothing special about short selling a resistance level. What I'm doing is special because I'm saying, okay, this is where the bag holders got created. People who swing trade puts made a lot of money. If they don't sell the open, they're at risk for getting squeezed and becoming a bag holder. Incompetent entry to buy puts because it already crashed. It already gapped down. Puts already banked, right? So that's where the bear traps are going to get created. Now, where'd the bull trap get created? The bull trap got created for the people who were wrong about the swing trade. And for the people who bought the stock and bought call options, they're now bag holders. So like I said, where would all the bag holders who are holding and hoping sell their position if they were smart? If they're already stuck bag holding and they don't care about losing more and they're holding and they're hoping, where would a smart person sell? A smart person and a lot of selling pressure would get created at the gap when the gap fills, because they're going to say, this is where I entered. And I would much rather buy low than buy high. I got an incompetent entry. I'm stuck holding a bag. I don't want to hold that bag again. I got lucky holding this. I'm going to sell my bags here. I'm going to create selling pressure here because this is where the SPY collapsed yesterday heading into the previous closing price of the market open, right? So that's what I'm doing differently. But what you must understand is people don't know that and they don't see that before it actually happens. This is what people do. They say they don't know about the gap strategy and it will crash at 412.64 and it will drop all the way to 411. Then what they'll do is they'll say, okay, I know there's resistance at 412.64, so I'm going to short the retest and I'm going to buy puts here instead of buying puts here. They're not buying puts here and they're not shorting right here because they don't know. They don't know about the gap trading strategy. They don't know about the previous closing price. All they're doing is nothing special. They're just waiting for some sort of resistance level to form. And when it pumps back up to that resistance level, they short the stock. So you must use it initially only. If you don't use it on the initial reaction only, there is no gap. And if there's no gap and the gap already filled, there is no strategy. It's just support and resistance and price action and whatever indicators and whatever patterns and candlesticks, whatever you want to stack on top of that, which is not special. What's special is the gap close reversal strategy. So understand, there is no longer a gap to fill at 416.78. It already filled, it already reversed, it already crashed. It's just a resistance level. It's not a gap. It's nothing special. Everybody already knows it's resistance. You must know before it's actually resistance. And you can do that by determining the previous closing price, whether it gaps up or gaps down. You know where the bag holders got created because I put you onto the strategy, right? The gap already filled at 415.19. So, this is the first time it happened. Play the first time. There's no more gap there. It already filled. It already reversed. The gap already filled at 412.64. There's no gap there. It already reversed. It already worked, right? That's what I need you to understand about the strategy. So for those of you wondering if it retests the previous closing price, all it's doing in all your trading is a retest of a support or resistance level. You're just trading the previous closing price, just a resistance level. It's nothing special. This is what's special. The stock gaps down. Okay, who got trapped? The bulls got trapped. Who's going to get trapped now? The bears are going to get trapped because it gapped down. They're going to try to squeeze it back up to fill the gap. That's what they're going to try to do. And then who's going to get trapped here? The people who got trapped yesterday buying calls. That's who's going to get trapped here for the short term, for the scalp. Initial first time reactions only. Please write that down. You must prepare yourself ahead in advance. There is nothing special about saying, okay, SPY filled a gap and it crashed here. If it goes back up towards that resistance level, that I'm going to play puts. It's not special because there's no longer a gap to fill. After the fact, it is just a resistance level, meaning you are not using the gap strategy. All you're doing is short selling a retest. That's where the battle and the fight is going to be created, because everybody knows now. Don't you understand? People didn't know that this was going to crash at 412.64 because they didn't use our strategy. That's why they don't know. But when it already crashes at 412.64, now they know. And shit's going to get fucked up. It's going to be choppy. It's not going to be as ideal. It's going to try to break out. It's going to try to break down, flip bearish, flip bullish. It's a hot mess. You must trade the initial reactions only. You need to put yourself in the position to succeed, to set the trend. That's what we are doing. We at Trader Society are trendsetters. We know where the resistance is going to be before it's even a resistance level. We know because it's a gap close reversal strategy. The gap fills, it tries to react as a reversal. We'll use some bearish confirmations on the initial reaction, and we'll play the puts and short the stock, right? All the suckers get in after the fact, after the gap has already filled, after it already crashed. It's already too late. That's not a gap strategy. That's short selling resistance. And I did do some lotto trades. I did a lotto trade right here on puts because it was trying to react bearish, but then it turned into support. So I cut my losses. I only lost $500 on my lotto trades. In terms of Tesla, I made over $6,000. In terms of Roku, I had a nice trade on Roku. I made over $1,000 on Roku. I waited for all the bag holders to get created. Put options and shorts got crushed on earnings with Roku. I said, okay, this is overextended. I'm going to short during extended hours, like Dimitri did on Tesla. And with that being said, I absolutely crushed Roku, man. This was a nice little scalp on a short where I made a quick $1,000 profit while the market was closed. Obviously, if you have a small account, you don't want to do that, and you don't want to even you don't want to consider doing that. It's just not the best trading opportunity. It's just a lotto trade. But I identified there was resistance, and it crashed very, very nicely from this support. So I said, okay, it's crashing from support. It looks bearish. It's overextended. It's Roku. It's a piece of shit stock. If it goes back to the previous support at $72, I'm going to short the stock right here, which I did at the exact peak, and I'm going to sell into the dip. Made my money. Initial reaction only. There was no resistance at $72. There was support at $72. But if it cracks and has a nice drop, the most likable outcome is the first time, not the second time, not the third time, not the fourth time, the first time it goes back to previous support, it's going to try to react as a resistance because the trend is micro bearish. Don't you understand? The first time only. You must be able to see where the resistance level is before the resistance is actually there. If you want to get the best entries at the best prices and you don't want to struggle and fight battles and fight trends and trade poor lotto trade setups, right? So with that being said, that's what I want you focused on, man. I want you targeting stocks with big gaps. The bigger the gap up, the better for calls. The bigger the gap down, the better for puts. Wait for it to retrace back to the previous closing price. The quicker it happens, the better. This is what you want, man. You want massive gap downs, and you want it to reverse and fill that gap very, very quickly. Overreactions, play the reversal at the gap. Do that, rinse and repeat, and you watch. Your life is going to start to change. If you just do what I said and what I'm teaching in these playlists, you will do very, very well. This is now the second day in a row where I called out and prepared people for the exact top, for the exact peak on the SPY. 2 days in a row. Nobody else is doing that. Yet we still have some people, right, because they're new or they're just not following the rules, they're not trading the strategy, who are red. This is the reality of the market. Not everybody's going to be green. I can only, not everybody's going to be green. This is just the reality of the market. But we have a lot more who are green than are red. And the ones who are really green, they're consistently making 5 figures because they have a special skill set. They're disciplined. They're a different breed. These people are performing at a very high level. But with that being said, man, if you're 23 people red, 47 green, 57 people green, 17 red, understand this is the second day in a row where I told you the exact top and the exact high of day for SPY. So what I would suggest for you, if you are red, to cut out all the shit, to cut out all the noise, to cut out all the lotto trades, and I would just suggest for you that you focus on mastering and becoming self-sufficient on trading the best setups at the best prices. In the video lesson library and in the YouTube videos and within the chat and the moderators that we have within the chat who are doing very, very well, we will help you along the way, and I will continue to prepare you to trade the best setups at the best prices. What I would tell you is focus only on the gap close reversal, the gap trading strategies, nothing else. First initial reactions only. Focus on the key levels. I'm going to point you in the right direction with these key levels, with these real-time alerts. That's what I'm going to do for you, right? But become self-sufficient and learn how the strategy works. You should be able, if you're watching the course and you're watching the video lessons, you should be able to capitalize on these trading plans without my assistance. You should be working towards self-sufficiency. Practice the strategy with or without anybody. Practice it. Get to learn it. Use confirmations. Become self-sufficient. Become competent. I am telling you, the best trader is the self-sufficient one, the one who doesn't rely on anyone else to trade, right? Surround yourself with people who can point you in the right direction and who can open your third eye up, and surround yourself with successful traders who can help you out and teach you things, but you must apply that education by yourself. You must become self-sufficient. Show people that you're trying to become successful. Okay, the gap filled. The plan was to buy puts. It's looking bearish, guys. I'm going to try puts here. Show people that you're trying. Show people that you're studying, that you're educated, right? There is no reason if, the keyword is if, you traded the best setups at the best prices and you played puts at the best prices that I gave out for the past 2 days, there is no reason why anyone should be red. So like I said, if you are red on 2 days like this, you need to just focus on the best setups at the best prices, become self-sufficient, educate yourself, and show people that you're trying. If someone is trying very, very hard to make it, and I could tell this person is educated, and I could tell they're giving out good ideas, they have the right mindset, they're trying, they're showing, they're putting the work in, I'm going to be attracted towards that person. But if someone's just losing money and they're not trying and they're just trying to blindly follow, I don't want to be around that person, and I don't recommend that person to join my program. I want to be surrounded by competent people. I want to be surrounded by self-sufficient people. I want to be surrounded by people who can do what it is that I'm doing better, because they're mastering it and they're actually learning and they're not just blindly following things. So like I said, man, just focus on trading the best setups, best prices, focus on the key levels, and then I will alert my trades in real time. We'll go live. And then in terms of the SPY floor, those are my Lotto trades. I do not recommend the Lotto trades for anyone unless you're already super successful and you have a large account and you understand price action, you have a good read on the market, right? If you're just getting started or you're not successful yet, please only focus on the key levels, guys. Put yourself in the best position to succeed as a trader. I want all my followers to do very, very well. I want all of you guys to be rich and successful, and I want a very strong, powerful network. And we're not going to get there by blindly following other people. We must be educated. We must be self-sufficient. We must stick to trading the best setups at the best prices, and we must understand the consequences and the suffering that comes from not doing what you're supposed to be doing, right? Please patiently wait to trade the best setups at the best prices. Understand where the money is going to transfer. Think about it. SPY gap down. Where did the money transfer to? It transferred to all the people who swing traded put options. I missed out. I miss out all the time. I don't care. I use a proven strategy that works. I don't care about missing out on a gamble lotto swing trade, right? But understand where the money transferred to. This is very, very simple. Look at the chart. Look at this. The money transferred to the people who ended up swing trading puts, and I missed out. Then where did the money transfer to? The money transferred to the people who were patient, from the people who were patient with those puts, trying to aim for a massive win when they were already up nicely. They're going to be patient, try to make a bigger win, not take their gains, right? It transferred to the bulls. They gave all their money back to the bulls because they didn't lock in their profits and chose to hold for a bigger win, not understanding that it can rip back up to fill the gap. Then, once the gap filled, where did the money transfer to? The money transferred back to the puts, back to the people who made a killing shorting SPY yesterday and selling at the open. Don't you understand? The money is transferring from the impatient people to the patient people. Don't you understand? Look, I'm patient. I'm not swing trading puts here. I'm not gambling. I'm not shorting, right? I'm patient. I'm going to wait for I'm going to wait for a bag hole to get created. I'm patient, right? So it gaps down. Am I going to buy puts because it gaps down and it looks bearish here? No, because I'm patient. I'm going to wait for it to go back up to the previous closing price, because that's where the money is going to transfer into the pockets, because this is where the bag holders got created. The bag holders got created at 412.64. If it has a massive gap down and crashes, The first time it fills this gap, they are going to try to reverse it. So understand, the money is transferring from the impatient people. Impatience, I want you to think of impatience as incompetence, as FOMO, as fear of missing out. Like this, SPY's at 409. Wow, it shot up to 412.64. Calls are banking. Let's buy the breakout. Those are the impatient people. SPY gap down. Wow, it looks bearish. It's oversold. Let's buy puts and chase it. Those are the impatient people. They're FOMO. They don't know what they're doing. We're capitalizing off of them. Do you realize how much selling pressure is going to be created when a stock has a massive gap down and instantly rockets up to fill that gap? There's going to be a lot of selling pressure the first time, right here, when there is no resistance. There was no crash here. There was no big crash here. After it's crashed, don't you see? Gap close reversal first time. Right here, this is where you don't do it. This is slop, this is chop, this is resistance. There's no gap to fill, the gap already filled. You must do it and set the trend before it actually happens. So please, if you want to put yourself in the best position to succeed as a trader, use what it is that I'm teaching you. I'm now in a position where I'm making 5 figures every single week. I'm surrounded by a couple traders in my group who are learning their trades in real time. They're making 5 figures every single day almost, and they rarely have red days. Because they're a different breed. You must do things differently. Understand, impatience, fear of missing out, bad trading setups, puts at oversold levels after gaps down, trash, right? Understand what's trash. Understand what's not working. Understand how you can capitalize off of people's misfortunes. Oh, it's very misfortunate that you bought calls and the stock gaps down. If you want to gamble, go ahead, right? Very misfortunate of you. Oh, it spiked all the way back to the previous closing price. It's very misfortunate that you didn't sell those puts at the open for a nice profit. Wow, I wonder how much selling pressure is going to get created. There was bag holders yesterday at 412.64 for all the bulls, and now there's a bunch of bag holders for all the people who didn't sell their puts. When it hits this previous closing price, it's going to fucking explode. Don't you get it, man? I'm trying to put this on and make it as simple as possible to understand. So look, all I'm telling you to do is this. If you're a beginner, do this. Join Webull, get a paper trading account. Start paper trading the strategy with options. Become successful with paper trading, then switch to a live account with TD Ameritrade. TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim is going to be the best broker to trade options with. I want you to open up a paper trading account with Webull. The Webull paper trading is great and it's real time. The paper trading on Thinkorswim, it's not good. It's not real time. There's delays. It's terrible. So what I want you to do is I want you to use this information, practice on a paper trading account, or you can practice with real money, but just do 1 or 2 contracts. Don't do anything crazy. If you're doing real money and you haven't tried it yet, start small. You have to master the strategy. You have to learn the strategy, right? You have to have experience. I dedicated my entire life to mastering this one simple strategy, and I will continue to get better at mastering this strategy. The money is going to flow into the person with the most experience, the most competence with that one singular strategy. Think about it. You have 100 units of energy. If I'm using 10 units of energy to do 10 different things, 10 different strategies, guess what? I'm going to have very poor results on all 10 things. But if I use 100 units of energy on one thing, on one strategy, SPY is a massive gap down. When it goes back to fill the gap, buy the puts, short the stock, right? Obviously, it's more advanced than that. Look for confirmations, look for patterns, stack things in your favor, whether that's indicators, whether that's the chart history. It's a lot more advanced than what I'm telling you is. But in terms of a beginner, focus on massive gap downs and massive gap ups, and then focus on overreactions quickly when those gaps fill. Play the reversal same day. That's what you want. Those are really good setups, and those are very beginner friendly. But it gets a lot more advanced than this and a lot more strategic than what it is that I'm going over. I teach the entire gap trading system inside of Trader Society in the course, and I trade live on stream, and I do the real-time alerts. So please, man, get started using this strategy. Change your life. Master the strategy. There's nothing better than this. Look at the charts. You tell me. Where do you want to buy puts? Huh? You tell me. We're gonna short SPY. We're gonna buy puts. Do you want to buy puts right here when it gaps down and closes this gap at the exact peak? That's where we play puts. Do you want to buy puts right here when it fills this gap at the exact peak? That's where we play puts. Do you want to buy puts right here at 412.64 when it fills the gap and crashes? Right? You tell me what it is that you want to do. The charts speak for themselves. I can sit here and say I have the best trading strategy because the chart is proving it. Not a Lamborghini, not my lifestyle that I like to keep private. What proves it is the charts, is what I teach. And the people who use what I teach and who are disciplined to not give it away and gamble and enter shitty trades, they will rise up and they will create wealth for themselves. But if you're not going to be disciplined and you're going to go bouncing around with a bunch of different trading strategies, doing all this different noise and all these different things, you're going to lose. This is a simple game. You're the one that complicates it. So simplify your trading and master one simple trading strategy with options. I do this with calls and puts. I showed you the short side of the addition, right? So with that being said, if you want to be a part of Trader Society, now is the best time to join. It is a one-time fee. It is lifetime access. We are going to be raising the prices heading into this year after first quarter. We are going to be raising the prices. There's no discounts. There's no coupon codes. We have traders who stick to the system. They're making 5 figures every single week. We have traders who stick to the system. They're now making 5 figures daily. I am charging such a small amount of money for the value that this community is bringing, and the prices will only go up. With that being said, the best time to get started was yesterday, but get started today. So it's the first link down below in the description to join us. You'll get instant access to the program. Click the first link in the description.